This box traveled from Sig Sauer directly to a U.S. Army unit. It is not the box your M17 came in, even though it looks like it from the outside. And right now, in the entire collector community, there are only 10 confirmed examples of a surplus M17 matched with one of these boxes. 10 out of 28 boxes we know survived at all. That means there could be as many as 18 more out there still waiting to be reunited with their pistol. I'm Scott Owens with MiMoSA Research, and today I want to show you what makes this different, where these boxes came from, and most importantly, how to find out if you are sitting on number 11. Before I get into the box, let me give you some quick context on the M17 surplus release for anyone who's new here. Back in December of 2019, Sig Sauer began selling surplus M17 pistols directly to the public. Pistols that have been issued to and used by the U.S. military. Roughly 2,350 of these are documented across the collector community right now. These weren't new guns. They came back to Sig from active service, and Sig sold them through a dedicated surplus program. If you want the full deep dive on that release, I'll link my original M17 surplus video in the description. It covers everything from the packaging to the grip sizes to the data matrix sticker. Okay, now the box. When Sig Sauer released the surplus M17s to the market, they shipped them in brand new cardboard boxes. Same construction as the original military boxes, same interior foam configuration, same dimensions. If you set them side by side, you'd think they were identical. However, they are not. The difference is in this sticker. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, where is my tactical Sharpie? Let's take a look at what's actually on the label. And again, I have my tactical Sharpie, so don't be surprised when I point to something with it. First off, we have the NSN number, or the National Stock Number. Underneath that, the cage code, 6 Zulu Whiskey Bravo 1. That we know is the cage code for SIG specifically. We have a part number. We have a description, full-size modular handgun system, one each. We have the contract number. We know that's the contract that the M17 is produced under. And then we have the serial down here at the bottom. Serial Tango Foxtrot 004814. I did pretty good reading that upside down and backwards, if I do say so myself. We do have a couple of barcodes here. And then we have this sticker that's over here. Again, we have the cage code for SIG. We have a part number. We have the serial number again, and then the UID data matrix code. Now, if you scan the data matrix code that's actually on the pistol itself, which is right here, it will return that exact same data. So this matches what's on the pistol itself. Hey, one thing I want to point out that Ty reminded me of when I shared a rough cut of this video with him. Again, tactical Sharpie. Notice what we have here, a number 23, which is interesting because that corresponds to the rack mark that exists on this pistol. So I thought that was really cool, and he did too, so wanted to share that with you. Now let's take a look at the box that was actually shipped with the commercial pistol. Primarily, the difference between these two are the stickers. You can see down here the military issue box has a sticker that is formatted for the military's needs, as well as an additional sticker over here, and that is primarily for stock keeping and that kind of stuff. On the commercial box, we have stickers that are designed primarily for retail. So this is information like we have a SKU code, we have the serial. This one indicated that it was printed on 23 December 2019, so that is just before they were actually released out into the market. And the stickers are completely different between the two boxes. There's one other difference I want to highlight here. Let me see if I can do this somewhat gracefully. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, I've zoomed out a little bit. Up top we have the commercial box, and underneath we have the original military box, and we can tell that because that's where the large sticker is. One thing I want to note here on the military box is this inspected tape, or the tape that says inspected on it, and you can see that is where it was actually opened. That is a tape that SIG used when they were sealing up the box for shipment to the military. And when you go back and watch my M17 video, you can see, and I'll insert some B-roll here as well, but you can see where this tape is used on all of the boxes that were received by the military. You can also see this sticker as well. So that's one of the big differences between between the boxes. Additionally, you can see, and it's not super critical, but the original military box, if you look at the roundel for the manufacturer, you'll note that it has at the bottom of the roundel, I'm going to guess that's Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and then a zip code, whereas on the box that got shipped commercially, there is no zip code. So it just says, I'm going to continue to call that Tewksbury, and I'm not sure that's right, so forgive my pronunciation, for the Stephen Gold Corporation. There's a couple of other differences you can see in terms of sizing of the fonts. I think that's all explained by, this is probably a later printing of the same box itself. So I know, we know with the M45A1 commercial releases, all the boxes that the Pelican cases were shipped in, that box varies over time. The contents vary slightly. I'm sure the same thing is happening here. For whatever reason, they went to a newer plate as time went on, and I'm pretty confident that that's all this is. It's the same part number, it's the same basic box, but there's a couple of years that separates these two boxes, so that absolutely explains the difference in the printing. In terms of the inside foam core, that is all identical. You can see here. This is the military box, and I'm going to set the commercial box over here. And aside from the stuff that gets included with the commercial release, the foam inserts are functionally identical. I couldn't see any differences between them. This one in particular is just a little dry or something. All the ones that I've seen look like this. So the foam core, I believe, is identical. Now, there's one thing in here that I do want to talk about. I'm going to pull this out. This came out of the military box. So this is the actual pistol that goes with that box. You can see the serial number matches. Tango Foxtrot 004814. But notice that I have two hang tags. It turns out that of the 10 boxes that we've matched so far, only 5 of them have the original hang tag from the military within it. And again, there are some small differences here. I'm sure it comes down to the time in which it was printed, but it's really great to have the original military hang tag with this. Okay, I broke out my entire collection of other M17 surplus pistols, including what we call the M18 Overrun Edition. And we can see on all of these a very similar style as the one that is currently attached to this pistol. This hang tag that was in the military box is the original hang tag that was shipped to the military, and you can see the difference here. All of the other ones, they don't have a square around it. The stop sign is much smaller, and then there's less printing here and more printing here in a smaller font with a big red band across the top. So, original military hang tag. All of the commercial releases on all the other ones look like this one. So, nice note. Do with that what you may. And again, I'm sure this is a function of how Sig printed stuff, how Sig's printing changed over time. I don't think this is a deliberate attempt or anything. It was just one of those things where over time they went from this style to this style. So original military hang tag, originally released in 2017, and then by 2019 they were being released with this kind of hang tag, and that I think was much later, like 2020, 2022. I can't remember off the top of my head. So anyway, just a interesting difference for the collectors who care about this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to put away my collection so we can focus on this guy. Box, pistol, tag. All original, all reunited. That's about as complete as this story gets. So how does a package like this come to exist? The short answer is that an Army armorer, whose job it was to dispose of these boxes, recognized that they were worth preserving and kept them instead. Because of that foresight, and I genuinely mean that because nobody asked him to do it and he did it anyway, 28 of these boxes survived. Without that call, every one of them would have been destroyed. That armor, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but a collector named Ty was able to acquire those 28 surviving boxes and has spent years working to reconnect them with their original pistols. One of them, the armor's own pistol and box, stayed together with his family instead of entering the collector's market, and that just feels right. I also want to say something broader here because Ty said it better than I could have when we were talking through this video. In the community, we've had the rare honor of documenting pieces and actually connecting with the soldiers who carried them. Several veterans have shared personal recollections and their own documentation over the years, and every one of those contributions matter. Even the ones I don't have room to list by name in a single video. Ty put a lot of this specific story together, but he'd be the first to tell you he didn't do it alone. Now, the collector community has actually known about these boxes for quite a while, a few years now. This isn't a brand new discovery. What is new is that I've been able to get my hands on this one to film, which means I can show you exactly what you're looking for. And the reason I'm making this video now is that I think the wider gun collecting audience still doesn't know this variation exists. And that's exactly the kind of gap this channel exists to close. So here's what we know. There are 28 of these original military issue boxes confirmed to have survived. Of those 28, 10 have been matched and sent to the owner of their original pistol. 10. That leaves 18 boxes out there that haven't yet been matched up with their original pistols. Of those 18, 4 correspond to serial numbers our community has personally observed, so we know that those pistols are out there in collectors' hands. The other 14, we know they left government stocks and went back to Sig, but we haven't observed them in our community yet, and that's totally plausible. We don't claim to know the entire population. Our spreadsheets are just what the community has personally observed. All 28 are documented on the M17 master sheet, and that link is in the description below. Of the 10 confirmed matches, only 5 still have their original hang tags on the trigger guard, and this is one of those 5. But I want to be honest about the odds. Some of those 18 boxes may never find their matching pistol. The surplus M17s are scattered across collectors who may or may not be active in the community, and they may never surface publicly. 10 confirmed matches out of the 28 surviving boxes honestly is remarkable on its own. Whether we find more is genuinely uncertain. The example I'm showing here today came courtesy of the Military Collector Co. LLC. They're one of the outfits in this space genuinely focused on getting significant pieces to collectors who will document them properly. Thank you so much to them. Link to their page down below. I do want to briefly address something that I know is on a lot of collectors' minds, the ongoing SIG P320 controversy and its effect on the M17 surplus values. Look, it's real. Values have taken a hit. Desirability is down in parts of the community. But here's some historical perspective. The M1911 and the A1 variant had its critics. The M9 had its critics loudly and publicly for years. Slides hitting, operators in the face isn't a good look, that's for sure. Both of those pistols are now deeply collectible precisely because of the history attached to them, controversy included. That history doesn't go away, it becomes part of the story. The M17 is the current standard sidearm of the United States military. It went to combat. It was issued to soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. And a surplus M17 with its original military issue box, one that proves the chain of custody from Sig Sauer to a U.S. Army unit, is going to be significantly more compelling to serious collectors 10 years from now on than it is today. The people who recognize that right now are going to be glad they did. So here's my advice. Check your serial number against our M17 master sheet. Links in the description, and the most up-to-date list of which boxes have already found their match exists there, as well as the ones that haven't. If you have a hit, reach out directly to me. I will personally connect you with the right people so that you can get your hands on the matching box for your pistol. That reunification is something I'd love to help make happen. And if you've ever seen a box with a large military issue sticker, one that looks noticeably different from the standard surplus shipping label, send me a message, even if you're not sure what you're looking at. Every observation matters. There could be up to 18 more of these still to be matched, and you might be one of the ones holding the missing piece. So thanks for sticking with me through this video. Scott Owens here with MiMoSA Research. The community is how we document these things. No single person has the whole picture, but together we're building something genuinely valuable. Links to the M17 master sheet, the Military Collector Co. LLC, the community groups, and my original M17 surplus video are all in the description. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out M45A1.com to find a full report on your M45A1 issued DCOM. If you found any of this information valuable, I have a support button on that page in the upper right-hand corner. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.